Boys and girls, Jared Welch, RacingDudes.com, coming at you for a banger of a race on Saturday. The Ohio Derby, Grade 3, $500,000 Ohio Derby. Where else? Thistledown. That's right. A $500,000 Grade 3 at Thistledown. And if it goes as race 11 on Saturday, field of 8 lined up for this one. And you have like we'll call it 3.5 Kentucky Derby runners. I say 3.5 because Ethereal Road was in and then was out, and then Rich Strike got in, and of course we know what happened there. But Ethereal Road, White Abarrio ran, Tawny Port ran, and Classic Causeway ran. So you got 4, let's call it 4 Derby type horses in the field of 8. So, whatever you want to call this race or what it means, it's a hell of a race. And a lot of, the Ohio Derby is one of those races that we talk about every year, kind of pre-Triple Crown races beginning, like, oh, that's an Ohio Derby type horse. And what we mean by that is a horse that maybe is not quite good enough to compete at the level of the Derby and the Preakness and those kind of races, but can run in these big stakes, but big purses, and get some graded stakes at different races where they kind of bypass. We've seen this before where horses kind of work their way around in these smaller races, whether it be the Ohio Derby, the Iowa Derby, the Indiana Derby, whatever it is. And then they kind of work their way back into, say, the Breeders' Cup or whatever mix to kind of compete, like get that next shot at competing against the big boys, and like gain a bunch of money in the process. These trainers know what they're doing. And so let's go through. I'm going to go through the 4 contenders. I honestly think out of the 8, the 4 that I mentioned are the ones with the highest probability to win this race. Makes sense, right? So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to rank them in terms of least likely winner to my top pick of this race. And I'll start with number 8, Classic Causeway. He's my number 4 on the list. This horse ran in the Kentucky Derby, finished 11th, beaten 17th. He wasn't as bad as White Abarrio. We'll get to him in a second, but he definitely was not great. He just kind of ran basically in place the whole way around. But prior to that, in the Florida Derby, he was so awful, beyond awful, beating 21 lengths. Won the Tampa Bay Derby, won the Sam F. Davis. I mean, he was good in those races, but those numbers kind of came back poor. They were slow numbers. Then once he got to the Florida Derby, awful. Kentucky Derby, not good. Now he's traded by Kenny McPeek. You get that first start with the Kenny McPeek, so that's interesting. He's going to need to be every bit of 6-1 to touch him. So I think he's cheap speed, nothing more, nothing less. He's definitely going to have a say on the beginning, but there's some other speed like Pineapple Man and Brigadier General that should show some speed as well. So I think he's cheap speed, nothing else. All right, my number 3 horse, Ethereal Road. I think that Ethereal Road is interesting. And honestly, if there's a horse in here past my top 2 that you got to make sure you use, it's Ethereal Road, because we saw what he did in the Sir Barton. And he's one of those that could be very dangerous leaving off. I don't know that he's fast enough to win here, but that Sir Barton race was nice. Luis Saez decides not to show up. So I took that as a strike against him as well. $500,000 race. You would think if he's got a chance to win, he would have shown up here. I didn't love, he's an interesting one because I didn't love the fact that they could have ran the Belmont. They chose not to. What's that mean? But then he shows up here. But then you also look back, he could have ran the Derby. They did not want to. So then he goes to Sir Barton. So you kind of think, well, he's not, or didn't even run the Preakness. He wanted to run Sir Barton and he rolls. So, that race came back to be, I don't think, be very good. But the pace should set up for him. Ethereal Road, he's one that if you're going deep here, I think you can use him. Otherwise, I think it's 2-horse race. So between White Abarrio and Tawny Port, my number 2, I'll go White Abarrio. He's okay. You got 7-2 on White Abarrio, and you've got 3-1 on Tawny Port. I think on the morning line, I think those are going to flip a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see White Abarrio go sub 2-1, go off the favorite here. He's a grade 1 winner. Tawny Port is not. I think Tawny Port, you're going to get somewhere in the 5-2 range. He'll be bad, but just not as hard as White Abarrio. Last time we saw White Abarrio, Kentucky Derby, 16th place, beating 20 lengths. He was awful. Easily his worst race of his career. And you start to wonder, maybe he doesn't like to run outside of Gulfstream Park. You also wonder, the only times he's ever ran outside of Gulfstream, it's been at Churchill. So he doesn't like Churchill. So he's an interesting one. He will get first run, I think, at these leaders. He kind of has that tactical speed, but then pounces. I just don't know that he's quite good enough. And I definitely, with him, I feel like he peaked a little bit in the Holy Bull in the Florida Derby. Kentucky Derby was obviously bad. I don't like the rebound here. I think Tawny Port shows a little bit more upside and will be better value, in my opinion. So White Abarrio 2, he certainly could win. I just don't know how good of a horse he really is, and especially considering I think he will be over bet. All right, and my top pick of the Ohio Derby, number 7, Tawny Port. Brad Cox has been on fire lately. I mean, look at was it House Brew last weekend? He was unbelievable. You know, Cyberknife came back to win a few weeks ago. Some of these horses that kind of looked not so good earlier in the year, these 3-year-olds are coming back to run really, really well. So Tawny Port definitely fits that definition perfectly. You know, he gets Irad Ortiz, who's coming in to ride. And he does have other mounts on the day, but clearly this is the horse he came in to ride. Love that. And, you know, in the Lexington, he was really impressive, I thought. You know, a horse that you didn't know, like, okay, he ran the Risen Star. That was his first time starting dirt. It didn't go super well. Goes to Jeff Ruby, finished second to Tiz the Bomb. Then they go back to Lexington. He's like, what are you doing? Well, he wins. And then he goes in the Kentucky Derby because he got enough points from that Lexington race to go in the Kentucky Derby. He runs 7th, beating 4. I mean, he was right there with that group of horses. Simplification ended up getting 4th, but he was right there in that group of horses that he, you know, could have been 4th in the Derby. To me, he's a horse that's making the improve at the right time. I'm not saying he's like a top 3-year-old contender, but I think he's a nice horse, and I think he keeps getting better with each race. And his numbers are showing that he's not just like a synthetic or only synthetic horse. I mean, his dirt numbers in Derby was good. His Lexington race was good. And so to me, this is a horse that is a top pick. You got to use. I think it's like the quintessential Brad Cox, not like 2nd, 3rd, 4th string 3-year-old that he's just going to work his way around on the back end and pick up some money and some wins here. So my top pick, Tawny Port, to win the Ohio Derby. Let me know what you think. What do you think of this race? I mean, it's great to see these 3-year-olds back. It's not the Travers, it's not Saratoga, but it's always fun to handicap these kind of races where you can kind of get, okay, they're not that good. Now where do they fit in this level? So this makes it a lot more competitive, a lot more challenging to handicap. But let me know. Who do you think? Can Tawny Port get this done? You like White Abarrio? What do you think these horses end up? I mean, are any of these horses potential at being grade 1 type horses down the road? Obviously, White Abarrio's done it. Can he get back to that? Was the Florida Derby a fluke? So let me know. Comments below. Make sure you hit like on this video. Hit subscribe to get all our videos. Make sure you hit that notification button. Ding. And you'll get alerted when we go live and when we have these new videos out. Again, Tawny Port's winning the Ohio Derby. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Jared Welch. See you next time.